Hey guys, ReapingFire here with a mod spotlight. Yes, a mod spotlight. I have not made one of these yet, but I recently needed to build a force field for my survival game that I was playing. You know, the survival server that I'm playing on, and could not find a decent video on how to make this force field. The only ones that I found that were even slightly decent were the ones that were spoken in German, and I don't speak German, so I just kind of had to watch what they were doing and take as best of a idea as I could from that. So here I am actually making one in English. Now, there are videos on there of it, but it's an outdated one, the previous mod version, maybe even more than just the previous, but when it came to this version of it, the newest one that I'm using, I could not figure out a clue off what the videos I were watching was, because it was like Tekkit, and then there was like volts and stuff. I don't know anything about those mod packs. So this is for Feed the Beast Direwolf20, and it is on that one, the newest Direwolf20 pack that is. This is one of those mods. It is the Modular Force Field mod. And yeah, let's get started here. So it took me a while to organize all this, but I finally got it, I think. So one big thing you're going to need are the focus matrices. And they're probably more difficult to build than everything else because they're needed in everything else. So to make these, you're going to need steel, which is why they're the hardest thing to make. You need a lot and a lot and a lot of steel. So you're going to need steel, you're going to need a diamond, and you're going to need redstone. But you're going to need a lot more than one diamond. I mean, you should have at least half a stack. That's what I'm going to say, at least you're going to need. You might even go past that. And that'll actually make 9 focus matrices. Yeah, I'm tongue-tied today. I just can't speak. But yeah, so that's how you make that. And yeah, so let's move on. So the main 3 things that you're going to need to make, the main 3 things are going to be the driver, the capacitor, and the projector. The projector is made using 1 diamond, 3 of those focus matrices, 2 steel ingots, and an RE battery. Let's grab one of those. This is what is actually going to create your force field. Now, you're also going to need the capacitor, which, and let's first look at the driver. The driver is what actually converts whatever power source that you're using into the power source that you need to power the projector. So you're going to need one of those. And they're made from using 6 steel ingots, 3 on each side, a focus matrix in the middle, and an RE battery below it. And that's how you get the driver. Now the capacitor is what's going to store all the power and distribute it to your projector. And that's going to take 4 matrices, focus matrices, you know, like that. Top middle, right middle, bottom middle, left middle. Yep. And the steel ingots in the corners and the RE battery in the middle. Let's take that. And that'll actually store it and distribute it to everything else. Alright, so another major thing you're going to want is something to power it. Now, I always see people using EU in all the videos that I was watching, but again, that's outdated. Now you can use any power source to power this. Any. You can use RF, you can use EU, you can use MJs, you can use them all. And I love to use, well, I love to use MJs, but recently, since in this mod pack, because Industrial Craft and whatnot upgraded, I've been using RF a lot. So let's grab myself a redstone energy cell. And there's a lot of stuff in here. I'll be talking about that shortly. Alright, so these are the 3 main things that you're going to need. Let's place them. You got your power. Your driver is the only thing that actually has to be connected to any source of power. And then all the other blocks don't even need to be touching that. They could just be off wherever. So say you don't want the stuff near in your house anywhere. You want to hide it in a little room. You can. And wherever, if you want your projector to be visible in the middle of your house or something, you could do that. Just move it around. So for example, I could put the projector here. And then I could even put the capacitor right there. And right now they're off. That's why they're red like that. When I turn this on, there's a couple different ways. You can actually just stick a lever or a redstone torch right next to it, and that'll activate it. Or you can just activate it using this little redstone button here. That'll turn it on. Normally I just use that because I just like to leave my force field on at all times. It's just the way I run. But if you don't want it on at all times, I recommend using a lever. And now it'll, if I activate the power source to actually go into it, now it is now taking the RF and turning it into Fortron, which is their power source. All these mods have their own power sources, right? But then what you want to do is once you activate this, now it's going to start filling up with the power, and it's actually going to start sending it to the projector, which will start storing it right away. Now, one thing to keep in mind is other people might also be using these force fields, and if their home is close to yours, you're going to want to change the frequency for your machines. So, for example, we'll just do 3030. And that'll stop you from, you know, accidentally sharing power with your other people and having the blue lasers zipping around your town or from house to house. So that's how that's helpful. Now, as you can see, this thing's filling up with power very slowly. Very slowly. They're having a hard time. Well, you have some options here for the Fortron capacitor to do things. You can have it just fill up first before sending out the power. You can have it equally spread the energy out between all the machines that you have, or you can have it distribute it evenly. So it works evenly, and you can also have it completely just drain and send out the stuff, but I don't like to do that. I always use distribute. I find it works the best. But again, now you see this bar is going up slowly. So this, a lot of people would find an issue with. That's why the mod has these things called modules, which help you upgrade all of your machines to do things better. So to do that, I have set aside some modules to show you how they work exactly. Yeah, let me find the one that I wanted. Speed. That's the one we're working with right now. Let's talk about speed. So, speed will speed up this process here to fill up this. Let's put a stack of these in there. Again, these are expensive to make because they're made using those the focus matrices, and they're not really expensive, but they're hard because steel is so hard to make. It is not easy to make, at least not the way I'm making it. There's probably an easy way to make it, but I'm just not doing it that way. I find it very hard to get. But yeah, now if you look, the number's going up a lot faster than it was without that. So the only reason the numbers aren't shooting up is because we have this thing taking it. Now that we have some speed in there, actually I could put some more even. This will take it all. Okay, I find this mod has been very buggy for me lately, especially while trying to make these videos while I was setting it up. So you're gonna see some bugs, but that's fine. You probably won't have as much of an issue as I've had. I think it has something to do with the fact that this is a creative world. But yeah, so you don't really need to put anything in here. If you find that it's not taking enough power, then maybe put some speed in here. But that normally you won't have a problem if you're not making a huge force field. So now how about we get this force field working? So you have a couple of different options here. You have your spots for your modules. Then you have your spot for what kind of shape you're going to want your force field to make. Let's talk about that first. So I put this in my chest here. There's 3 very common ones, but there's a nice list of choices of shapes that you can have it take. But I'm going to talk about the 3 most popular ones. Why am I taking that? So we have a cube, we have a sphere, and we have custom mode. Now, a sphere is obviously going to be a sphere around it, using your projector as the center of the circle. A cube, the same idea, center of the cube, and it'll go out, make a giant cube force field. And then custom, I'm pretty sure, I haven't actually done too much with this. What you do is you select your one height in a corner by right-clicking. Then you have to go and you have to select another height. Hang on, let me change time, set day. You gotta go find another spot, and you're gonna want to do it a lot higher up than what I'm showing you here. But you're gonna want one high corner, one low corner, as to where you want your force field to be. And you right-click there but that'd probably be higher. And that will just make that area a force field around, which is nice if you have like a rectangle area and you don't want a cube, because this is a perfect cube and not a rectangle, whatever that's called. I can't think right now. Sorry guys. But anyhow, I like to use a sphere when I can, but right now in my my little server play that I'm playing on, I'm using a square, a cube. So let's put in the cube. I'll show you cube first. Now, once you put something in, it will do this little light show and show you a little hologram of it, but it's actually not building anything. Well, even if I turn it on, it's still not building anything, it's just making that annoying noise that it makes. In order to actually get it to start making the force field, you're going to need scale modules. So let's grab some of those. I have 64. Now I've noticed it's been buggy and hasn't been letting me use all 64 or even half a stack. Well, let's try half a stack for you guys here and see what works. It'll start developing it, but then it'll stop with a bunch floating around and it won't actually complete the shape when I try doing it big right now. Like I said, it's a buggy mod, but I actually was able to make a quite large one on the server, so again, I think it's just because I'm in a creative world that it's doing this. So I found 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to suffice. It will actually build that slowly. Now again, this goes back to putting in speed. Now in the projector, speed isn't to take in power faster, it's to build faster. So if you put a half a stack in, bam, it builds it almost instantly, which is really nice. So this is the force field. And there's multiple things that the projector allows you to do. But keep in mind, every time you edit something in here, it has to rebuild the force field. It won't leave it. But as of right now, anyone can still get into your force field. They can't just like walk through it, but if they hold shift and sneak through, they should be able to. For some reason I can't. Interesting. Don't know why that is. Well, normally they'd just be able to sneak through it, but for some reason it's not working for me right now. Maybe it's because the blocks, I don't know. But we'll go over that shortly. Huh, that's weird. I should be able to. Here, let me try making a sphere and see if that changes anything. I should be able to walk right through it. Well, that's interesting. Well, there's a sphere. Alright, well, there's a few things that you can do with it. I'm going to have to turn it off so I can get out. So I have a few more items here. I'm just going to grab them all and talk about them. Well, before I start talking about these things, let's actually talk about... We have an identifier and an interdiction matrix. It's actually not called... It's a biometric identifier, but I didn't feel like typing that out to the little sign here. So let's take one of those. And it's crafted using focus matrices in the corner, steel ingots in between those, and then a blank card in the middle. And then we have an interdiction matrix, which is formed using shock modules in the 3 top. A normal ender chest, not one of the ender storage ones. I couldn't find a normal ender chest in any of my NEIs or anything, so I just used that one. So it'll be a normal ender chest, not one of these. And the focus matrix is right there. Alright, let's grab one of those. Now, these things are very helpful because, and I hope this fixes the issue, let's first talk about the biometric identifier. Now this, let me make note of something for you guys here. In the capacitor, it'll tell you how many devices are linked up to it, including itself. That includes itself. So 1, 2, 3. It says 3. And if I put down the interdiction matrix, it'll say 4. But when I place down the biometric identifier, and I put in the same frequency, 330, it won't recognize it under this linked device. So just keep that in mind, that it doesn't recognize it on the capacitor, but it is still linked to them. So its effects will still actually work. Now what this does is, hang on. What this actually does is it allows you to create permissions for people. You can completely ban everyone except yourself from your area, or you can allow people to walk in but not touch anything, or So it lets you do that. And to do that, you're going to need identification cards. I don't have the crafting recipe for that available, but if you're playing this on something that has this mod, one of the mod packs, you're probably going to have too many items and you're going to be able to just look up the recipe that way. So what you're going to have to do is when you put the identification card in, this black box will appear here, and that's where you type your name or the name of the person that you're giving permissions for. Now I found this kind of buggy. So when I'm trying to type into this, my name, for example, Dante Black, once I type the L, this thing will pop in. I just hit escape and go right back to it and type in the rest. But you might have some stuff pop up as you're typing. It's a bug. So that's an issue that I found. But you could also just go into, say, Microsoft Word and copy your name and then paste it into here with Control V. That works too. Make sure the name is spelt exactly how your name is supposed to be like when you made your account. Otherwise, it won't recognize you. See, right now you can see my little image as the picture. But say I change the B to a lowercase b, it doesn't recognize it as me. So make sure you have that correct. You don't want to get locked out of your own home because of that. And then you just drag that down and place it under master. Oh, well, it doesn't matter for the master identification card, but these are all the permissions. You got allow people to warp through, allow people to place and break blocks, etc. Depends on what kind of powers you want to give them. Then you want to select those to give a person power. And then you just drag that down to master. And this doesn't start working until you turn it on as well. Now, make note of this. Once you have it turned on, you cannot move the cards around or anything. It has to be turned off to move things around and add more cards and stuff. So keep that in mind. And then, now let's see if it'll let me through. Alright, let's turn on the sphere. Now I should be able to sneak through it. Yep, now it's letting me through. Now it's working correctly, okay. I guess it just was buggy before when I did it and on the server that I'm doing it on. If this thing isn't on, anyone can walk through. And yeah, that's what's happening now. I guess I just needed that block placed down for that to happen. So if you turn this thing off to edit, anyone can get into your home and do whatever they want. So keep that in mind. Make sure it's safe before you go and edit that. But yep, that's what that's for. That's for giving people allowance through into your force field. Alright, now there is the interdiction matrix. This will take power like all the other ones. The biometric identifier does not. So place that again where you want and it'll shoot a laser to it once you set it to the same frequency. All the blue lasers shooting out of the capacitor. Well, actually that's shooting into the capacitor, then yeah, you get the point. What this does is you can put items in and it will ban those items from your area if you're allowing people in and through it. So if they're bringing in, say, a gravity gun or something that can be used for griefing, you can ban that from your area so they can't come in with it. It won't let them in if they have it, and you can actually set it so that way if they do try to come in when they have it, they have them confiscated or they get killed just by adding different modules to it. There is, I don't think I have one on me, but there's modules that will kill people. But they're buggy though. I hear a lot of problems with them, so I avoid using it. So therefore I'm not going to be showing you guys that one in this video. Maybe in another video if you want me to. Alright, so yeah, you just put in the banned items. Say I wanted to ban that, just put that in. And it'll ban that item, and action, I don't know exactly what that does. Like I said, I could not find, or I hope I said it at the beginning of the video, the reason I made this video is because I could not find a decent video that was in English with this newest mod, so I still don't have a complete understanding of it, but I have a good enough one to make this video, and that's why I did, because I don't want other people to be in a similar situation as I. And let's just see how the power's doing. It's doing fine. So there you go with that. Now, we can talk about the modules more in depth now. Now, we already talked about the speed one and what the speed one does. Now, there's a few more that I find interesting. And actually, I don't think I kept... well, I'll just have to pull some out. So, let's first talk about let's see here. Let's go with the shock one first. How about that? Shock is a module that will shock someone when they touch your barrier, and that includes yourself. Even if you're given permissions to go through the barrier, you will be shocked. It doesn't kill you. It just does like half a heart of damage a second or something like that. I'll show you. So let's put the shock in. I don't know. It shows it's stackable. I haven't tried stacking it. I've only put one in. But my guess is that it will shock you even more, more damage per shock if you put more in, is my guess. But see, now that I'm touching it, it hurts. If I walk through it, I get hurt. But it's not significant enough to actually bother me. That's why I'm fine with using it. It will just kind of ward off people. And why do I keep letting it become night? Time set. If I could type day. Alright. So, there's shock. Now, let's pull that out. Also, I forgot to mention this. Keep in mind, each of the modules, they tell you on them that they take up Fortron. They actually use power. By adding these modules, they'll eat up more power. So that's why you might end up needing to make a second capacitor or something to help distribute power and give more power and whatnot. Because these take up 0.8 Fortron each. So 32, that's taking up like more than 16 Fortron per tick. I don't know exactly if it's like per tick or how it works, but that's actually taking up a lot of power. All of them take up power for the most part, except for, of course, your little module that creates the shape. And keep in mind, we're using a sphere, so it actually goes down and around as well underneath, so people can't sneak up from underneath. If you were using just like a dome, the floor would actually probably be a force field. I haven't tried, but this gives you a lot of space to work with when it's a sphere rather than a dome. There is a dome one that you can do if you're not worried about like needing underground space for any reason. But yeah. Okay, let's take a look here. What else is there? Talk about. So there's silence. There's a silence module. You can hear a humming in the background. That is the projector, and it makes that noise. And if you put the silence module in, the humming goes away. So I like that. I don't like the sound. Some people might like it. Alright, and it looks like I have 2 more things to talk about. Let's talk about camouflage. Now, it said, everywhere I read said, once you put camouflage in, your force field's supposed to go invisible. I've just put it in, and guess what? It's not invisible. But what the camouflage does do is, if you put a block anywhere in the little slots here that are for the modules, when you have camouflage in there, it will actually make the blocks look like that. So, for example, let's pull out some dirt. If I use a dirt block, and I place that in there, now my force field looks like dirt. Now it's still a force field, I can still walk through it. So it's a fake skin for it, so that way you can hide it, blend it in with things. But what I was really interested in was having it invisible, and I actually had to look into this. I don't know if you can make it in-game. It says it's an Ars Magica thing, so I looked for an invisible block. And there is one with Ars Magica 2. So if you're using a mod pack that has Ars Magica, you can get the invisible Ars Magica block somehow, I believe. If not, you could always ask an owner to help you out with that. You place that in, and bam, the force field is now invisible. It's still there. You can still see the corners, the little dots, but it is invisible, and people will be like, hey, look, a house, da 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 da. Then, bam, if you have shock on, they're getting shocked. I thought that was cool. I need to get myself some of that invisible stuff, because it definitely is what I want. I don't like seeing that force field. Now, let's take that out for this next part, because you're going to want to see the force field for this. Now you have probably been thinking, okay, ReapingFire, you completely have been ignoring these arrows that are around where you put the shape. And that is because these are easy to explain, and I just wanted to get the hard stuff out of the way. Yes, that's my excuse. So basically what this is, Hang on, I don't like having the NEI showing stuff. Let's do that. Or maybe not. Now let's do it. Okay, so these are to move your force field in any direction, because as of right now, your projector is the center of your force field. But you can change that. You can move the force field around. Again, it'll take power, but you use these translation modules. They only take 2.5 Fortran, but I mean that I'm sure that adds up. I had to do slight modifications for mine, but for example, if you want to move it backwards twice, or 3 times, or 4 times, you can do that. And now if you look, it actually looks like it pushed back and to the left. Probably might want to do that. There, now it'll push it. Okay. It's buggy, like I said, and it appears to be weird. Is the center actually halfway between the blocks? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. I wonder how that works, how it judges that. Well, I don't know how it's picking the middle of where the force field is, because normally the projector is the center. I believe. Yeah, normally. That's weird. See, it's buggy. I apologize, guys. Just please try to hold on with me there. But this is supposed to push it back. For some reason, it's pushing it to the left. I've noticed that I've had that bug with things before too. So it pushed it over 2 blocks to the left. Again, you might need to mess around with it if that's the issue. But you can move it, you know, to the right. There, that time it worked. It actually moved to the right. You can move it to the left. And that actually... So left and forward are mixed up right now. I'm sure maybe that'll fix if I turn it off and back on, maybe? I don't know. Guess not. But mess around with it. You'll actually see. If you're using a larger portal, of course, it'll be more of a headache because it takes the portal... I mean, not portal. Why am I saying portal? Force field. It takes the force field a while to make, and it might give you a headache like it gave me. But, yeah. So you can actually move it around. You can move it up. Whoops. Why did I do that? You can move it upwards, off the ground higher. Like, make it go and fly in the sky somewhere. You can do that if you really want to. Or you could say, hey, come back to Earth, bring it a little closer. You're like, nope, I don't want a dome floating in the sky at all. Or I want the dome to be sticking just up above. You can just keep doing that until you're like at the bottom of the circle there. Like this. It's all on personal preference. You could just move it around however you please. And that'll be, that's about it. Looks like I went over everything I wanted to talk about. Now, of course, there are a lot more modules. Let me show you. That do different things. I mean, look at all of these modules and stuff. You got different shapes. You can make a pyramid force field. You can make a tube. You can make a cylinder. It all depends on what you're looking for. Of course, we talked about scaling. We talked about, rotation. That one might actually be interesting. I haven't actually tested this. This is supposed to rotate the force field. You put one in there, and it will... I thought it was a constant rotation. But I guess not. I don't know what that's for then. I guess it just rotates it, turns it, in case you used a custom size and you did it wrong or something, or made it wrong. You could turn it. Alright, well, that was kind of disappointing. There's the sponge one, so say you want to make a dome underwater, but then you don't want to use sponges to absorb all the water that's inside of it. You can actually just put that in, and all the water on the inside will just disappear and turn into air. There's glow, which actually I believe it makes the force field have a glow. I'm not exactly sure on that. You can't really tell. I think it's glowing. It looks like it is. Hey, let's change it to night. Time, set, night. Yeah, it has a bit of a glow to it. It's actually creating some light, it looks like. But yeah, so there's lots of these modules. You can have stop mobs from spawning. You can stop enemy mobs and friendly mobs. You can have it kill people that aren't supposed to be there. You can have it confiscate items from people that aren't supposed to be there. You can have it warn people if they're getting too close. You can just stop it from allowing people from touching anything. There's a whole list of things that you can do. And also, I forgot to mention, I haven't actually tried the remote controller, but you can actually control it from a distance. So I believe you need to click the capacitor. Pretty sure you're supposed to like right click, click. There we go. Now it should be linked. Don't know how to, maybe I need to put it into the capacitor. Let's see here. There we go. Yep, that's how you do it. And now it should be linked. Yes. So now I can actually use the remote control to control things. So I can access from anywhere, which is great. I can actually cut power and just so I can see what's going on. I could mess around with it from a distance, and it actually brings the light to me, which I think is kind of cool, that little laser beam that they're shooting around. Does it take power to use? I don't know. But I could also use it for this. I put it in there. Yeah, maybe you need a different remote for that. Hang on, let's try it. So, oh, that's right. Now I link that with the force field projector. And again, same idea. I could be anywhere and say I have it set so no one can even get in, not even me. Well, I could be like, well, force field pulled down. Now I can get in. And then, okay, force field, go back up. Like that. So you can have a remote control for it too, which is kind of cool. Say someone's like, you're far away from your home, mining or something, and someone's like, I can't get in, and you're like, oh, well, remote control, let them in. Remote control, now they're locked in. Ha ha ha. Yeah, you can just have fun with it. So I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, I am ready to help, and just comment below. This took me a lot of time to prepare, so I appreciate any likes, comments, and if you can, hit that subscribe button, and I'll make some more mod spotlights like this. So, until next time, guys, hope to see you again in a video real soon.